Alright guys, how are you doing? BrettFX here, and I am going to be making a video talking about some of the stuff that I saw over at BF1 Reveal. I know this is a little bit late, but you know, I had to go in the DreamHack, and just got back on, or actually Monday. Been very busy with work, just trying to get back into the flow of things. So anyways, my video is a little bit late, but I'm not really going to talk about the trailer. The trailer is going to be in the background, but I'm not really going to talk about the trailer or anything like that. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I saw, what I talked about, which is very little. I mean, they did not tell us a whole lot, and I had a list of questions, I swear to God, guys, about 4 pages long, and I think they answered 2 out of all of them. So we're going to get right into just kind of what I know, what I saw from it, maybe a little bit of my thoughts, and some of the questions that they didn't answer. So first of all, the features that we kind of know, or maybe just some things in the games that we do know of. So there's going to be a new melee system that they have supposedly completely redone. Now I don't know exactly what that means. Hope to God we're not going to be seeing more basically out of control, you know, where you hit a knife button and it does the knife for you. Hopefully it's going to be more like it was back in the previous Battlefields, Bad Company 1 to BF2, BF2142, 1942, where you actually have a knife and you can just poke at them a whole lot. That would be what I would like to see coming back, but we don't really know exactly what it's going to be. There are going to be multiple melee weapons, and they have said that each of the melee weapons will have their own specific little goods and bads and do's and don'ts and you know, stuff like that. So I'm not too sure how I feel about this. I think it's a bad direction to go. Usually melees in a first-person shooter, it just ends really bad. And this is what scares me the most. This horrifies me when I actually heard about this, and it's a bayonet charge. Yes, a bayonet charge. Now, what I have been told by some of the people that I was talking to is that this is going to be gun-specific. So it's not going to be class-specific.
Peggy 18.
And it won't be on every single gun. You will have to have a specific rifle in order to use this. Now, whether you have to equip it or not, I don't know. But what scares me about this bayonet charge is how much are you actually going to have control over this? And not necessarily as the person doing the charging, but the person that's being charged. Will I be able to kill the guy before he hits me? You know, is it going to be one of those things where, you know what, he bayonet charged me and I'm just screwed. There's nothing that I can do. All of a sudden he turns invincible. And I know that in Battlefield 4, when you go in for that knifing animation there behind, you can't kill the guy. Now, I've heard that this was a bug, I've heard that it's intentional, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it may be, it is annoying as hell, and it breaks gameplay. And to be completely honest with you, if we see that happening for, you know, Battlefield 1 in this bayonet charge, that is going to be terrible. And it will be super frustrating because basically you're given a kill away for free if you can't kill the guy beforehand. And at the same time, you gotta kind of make it overpowered because it seems like it'd be too easily countered. I mean, a guy just goes in for a bayonet charge, and then all of a sudden, you're just like, oh, okay, die, you know, I'll shoot you, whatever. So, I don't know, that's going to be interesting to see how they do take care of that. Another thing that they have coming in here, gas mask. So we did see gas mask in the video where he actually puts one on. Very interesting that you show, or you see him putting it on instead of it just being an a perk like what we saw in Hardline. In Hardline, you could put the gas mask on and you could just run through gas all day long and it wouldn't do anything to you, but it took up one of those slots. So I'm kind of curious to see how, is this going to be something like an all-class deal where everybody gets a gas mask? Is it only a specific class that gets a gas mask? Or maybe we're going to be seeing it taking up an attachment slot, something like that. We'll be very curious. I'm very wary if it does take an attachment slot. I hope it's just like on default for everybody. I see gas being something that can be spammed very easily. And I don't want it to be something like in Call of Duty 4 where it was like stopping power, or in Bad Company 2 with Magnum ammo. You had to run it to compete with everybody else. Just because if you didn't, you were going to die a whole lot and it would be very annoying and you rage quit. The other thing that we did see was, let's see, 4 classes. So a video that you guys actually didn't get to see, but I did. And there have been some other videos that have been talking about this, so you probably have already heard about it. But there are going to be 4 classes coming in. They are going to be called the Assault, Med, Scout, and the Support. So we are kind of seeing a little bit of a retooling happening here for the classes themselves. You know, the traditional, or I say traditional, but the last 2 games, the standard Engineer, Assault, Medic, and Support, being switched up just a little bit. What we saw was that what looked like the Assault kit using a TNT. So he was going to be able to actually throw a TNT onto the tanks and destroy vehicles. Now, Did not see any launchers, I don't believe. Like I said, we only saw the video once and it was like boom, real quick. So I'm not too sure if there was a launcher involved, but I did see TNT. So it would be interesting to see how that does play out. Medic, of course, we did see him going in for a quick revive at one point. So obviously he's going to be the medic. I don't remember what gun he had, but I do remember seeing a carbine or a submachine gun like weapon with a magazine that came in from the top. So I'm thinking maybe we're going to be seeing the medic a little bit more, you know, mobile like it was in the Battlefield 3 and 4, less with LMG, stuff like that we saw in the Bad Company series, which is cool. I like that. That's all good for me. Support, which obviously support, I mean, he probably has the LMG. This is all speculation. I don't know. It may be switched up. But he probably has the LMG with ammo, and we'll be able to throw all that kind of good stuff out. Whoop-de-doo. And then we do have the Scout. Now, the Scout was a little bit interesting because if you looked at the scope, so we were actually watching some of the Scout play. He got in for 3 quick kills, and each of them he was scoping and unscoping. Now, it reminded me a lot of Bad Company 1, where there was a little bit more of a scope time, and it wasn't, it was, I don't know. It kind of took it out of focus, but it didn't take it out of focus. Like, there weren't any black bars around the scope itself, but it didn't like take up the whole screen like it does in Battlefield 4. Really hard to explain at the moment, so maybe later I'll figure out what I'm talking about. But anyways, Scout looked like it was going to be pretty fun to play as maybe an aggressive sniper. He didn't scope it too fast, but it wasn't too slow at the same time. Let's see, vehicle classes. Now this is something that's pretty interesting. They talked about vehicle classes. They're actually being not just you jumping into a tank, but you being a tank commander class. Now I have no clue how this is going to work. I was listening to some other videos and talking to some other people, and they were saying that basically the tank commander is going to have his own loadouts, his own weapons, and he's going to bring his own specialties to the table. So maybe he's going to be, you know, a little bit lighter armed as he's in infantry mode, you could say, but he jumped into a tank and all of a sudden, you know, he's got an uber overpowered gun or cannon, or he can do, you know, 380s and tail flips. I don't know, but we'll be kind of curious to see how that works out. Also with pilots, the same thing. So we are going to be seeing bombers and fighter craft. So there's going to be 2 distinct planes that are going to be out there. You will see the bombers with 2 seats, so they're actually going to have the ability to have 2 guys with them swinging around guns and being able to kind of protect themselves that way. And then you are going to be seeing a 2-seater regular fighter plane, you know, zooming around trying to kill everything else. And this is scout plane, so I don't know if there's going to be like 3 classes and the scout plane is just going to be a single single-seater for it or not. But we'll be curious nonetheless to see how that does turn out. Artillery, we did see, of course, artillery in the trailer. You saw it like boom. So that's going to be pretty cool. Don't know if that's going to be commander based or if that's going to be like what we saw in BC1, where you actually jump into an artillery and you end up firing it off from your base, or if it's going to be, you know, at a specific capture point. So it might actually be, you know, at a cap point and you got to jump in and you can use it there. See, battleships. So we are going to be seeing battleships coming back. You saw it in the trailer. Pool Shark was actually talking about it. He was playing in one as well. So battleships are going to be coming back. They will be movable, so they're not going to be on rails. Don't really know what else is going to be in the water. If we're going to be seeing some cruisers, if we're going to be seeing some destroyers, something like that coming in there so that you can actually take down those battleships within the water. So maybe, you know, its own little naval fight going down. But pretty cool nonetheless. I don't know how overpowered they're going to be because, I mean, honestly, the way Pool Shark was describing it, he was just dominating on some of those points, on the coastal points. So it may be like one of those situations where battleships are going to be like crazy good, and that's going to be a focal point at some point. And then let's see, what else do we got? Modes. Basically all the modes that I was able to get out of them was Conquest, and I think that was going to be pretty obvious looking at the trailer. You can kind of see floating over, so I think Conquest is going to be obviously their main mode. Once again, hopefully we are going to be seeing tailored maps for Conquest, tailored maps for Rush. I'm hoping Rush is going to be in it, and some small game modes as well. Now they did say that multiple game modes are going to be coming in here, so hopefully we are going to be seeing some good infantry style game modes, Squad Rush-esque, Small Obliteration, small conquest being tailored so that we can play, you know, some 5v5, 10v10 style games. Really, really, really hoping that the maps will be scaling down a lot better than what they did in Battlefield 4. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to go to an EA Play event in June. I don't know. I'm like 20% possibility that I might be able to go in June. You know, we are going to be seeing the beta coming out in June as well. I think it's June 12th for early access, guys. So if you want to join in on the beta, get in then. I would highly recommend it, especially all the competitive players that are going to be watching this. Get in there, play it, get your feedback onto the forums, and don't complain about it. You know, sit there and actually get good feedback. You know, why guns are working the way they work, and how the feeling of the infantry movement is working. You know, let's get kind of the gameplay feel down first before we start bashing everything else about it. And I'm not going to be going like full hype train back behind this, like this is going to be the next God's End game. I'm really not. I'm kind of taking everything with a grain of salt at the moment. I do focus on competitive. That is like my main focus as of right now, on trying to get feedback to these guys. You know, hopefully we're going to get some good information here very, very soon as to what's going to be coming out of it. But you know, I think really what it comes down to right now, guys, are the maps and the modes. You know, the gameplay that we saw, we're going to be having submachine guns, we have LMGs, we have bolt action rifles, and apparently we're going to have shovels. So I mean, you know, all the makings right there are right in the game for a competitive shooter. You don't have to worry about only being stuck with bolt actions like a lot of people were thinking. DICE is kind of stretching the reality of what World War I was in terms of just, you know, the guns that were useful. I mean, yeah, they're like, oh, well, this gun was made back in World War I. Yeah, but the reason why you never see it in any kind of historical way at all, like documentary or anything, because it most likely failed or was just a really terrible weapon. But that's a whole nother discussion right there. And as you do see, like some flamethrowers as well in the pictures, and a guy holding a Gatling gun thing in a suit of armor, which they did have stormtroopers. So if you're wondering like, why is he all decked out, the Germans did have stormtroopers, and they did use flamethrowers, and it was a pretty scary tactic and all kinds of cool stuff like that. But anyways, guys, I hope you did enjoy the video. I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to get more information. Oh, one more thing before I do leave. They did say, and this was the really, really good thing right here, they did say that the CTE, all the changes that we saw in the CTE in terms of improving the game, so like I would imagine netcode, server stability, tick rate, all that other kind of good stuff, is going to make it into the base game. They said, you know, why are we going to take all the good changes that came out of the CTE in Battlefield 4 and not put them in? So that's like a big like, yes, we're going to be basically incorporating all this into our base game. I don't know if CTE is going to be coming in for Battlefield 1. I really hope that we do see one, because I think that was very, very good for Battlefield 4. I mean, just imagine if we had that in Battlefield 3 and at the beginning of Battlefield 4. I think that the game could have been so much better. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I swear this is the last time. I know you've been seeing this trailer looping in the background, but it's all the footage that I have. Anywho's, we'll see you next time, guys. Take it easy.